During the time he was alive, Kurt Cobain was, albeit begrudgingly, considered a symbol of Generation X, and his angst-filled lyrics and laissez-faire attitude helped define an entire era. Although best known for his creative output, Kurt Cobain was much prouder of his social activism, and in particular, how much it pissed off bigots. So far away, Nisha, what do you know about Kurt Cobain's artistry? Are you a fan of Nirvana? Are you a fan of his music?
Not hugely. I just know a few songs, and I can appreciate the music. They were good, but it's not something I listen to, really.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat, where I appreciate Cobain's artistry and like the success that they had and the impact they had, but just Nirvana's music's not my cup of tea. However, after researching this article in particular, I am a huge fan of Kurt Cobain, the person. Because you see, Nisha and folks at home, due to his status as the quintessential social outcast, Kurt Cobain felt a certain kinship with the marginalised, and in particular, members of the LGBTQ+IA community. I always get that wrong. Is that right, honey?
You included all the right letters.
Just in the wrong order. Okay. Either way, Cobain felt a certain kinship with members of that community, stemming from his time as a kid where he was bullied relentlessly for being gay. Cobain himself was not gay, but he did have a gay friend. All of that proved to be a formative experience in Cobain's life and saw him becoming a fierce ally of the marginalised, which came in handy when he became one of the most famous men on the planet.
I'm guessing that's after Nirvana got big.
Yes, specifically after the release of the album Nevermind, which was just a stratospheric success and saw Kurt Cobain just rise in stature from this relatively unknown grunge artist to the literal face of an entire generation he would eventually come to define. And Cobain felt a certain amount of resentment over that because he did not like that people were listening to Nirvana's music but not embracing the ideals behind it. In particular, the entire band's support of the marginalised and specifically gay people.
So did Kurt Cobain actually ever speak out about this?
Yes, all of the time, both in his private life and in interviews, the latter of which he rarely ever gave, with some rare exceptions which I'll get to in a moment. But in his personal life, when he encountered fans, Kurt Cobain would often ask fans who said they were fans of his music, so you oppose bigotry in all its forms, right? And if they didn't say yes, he'd tell them to stop listening to his music. Because in his eyes, his music and his politics were so closely intertwined that you could not listen to his music without embracing his politics. And as a result, if he ever encountered someone who claimed to be a fan of Nirvana, but also didn't support the rights of women, minorities and gay people, he'd tell them to fuck right off. And that is a baller-ass move right there.
Yeah, it's I obviously knew of Kurt Cobain and his music and stuff, but I didn't know about that, so that's really good to hear. That he was standing against bigots.
And what that is as well, that's the right kind of gatekeeping right there, because you often hear those stories about weird men seeing teenage girls wear a Metallica T Shirt or in this case a Nirvana T Shirt and walk over them and just aggressively quiz them on their knowledge of the band and name 3 songs by the band. Kurt Cobain would do that, but he'd ask them to say out loud, "I support gay people," and if they did not, he would tell them to fuck off and take the T-shirt off. You are not a fan of my music. And that's awesome. It'd be nice to talk about this as if it was a solved issue, but it's not because even on the platform we're on right now, you have creators who refuse to say things as simple as Black Lives Matter because they don't want to upset racists and bigots.
Fuck them.
Exactly, fuck the racists, fuck the bigots. You don't want their money, and neither did Kurt Cobain, and that's why he's a badass.
Yeah, I can definitely appreciate what he stood for.
Here's the thing though, because Kurt Cobain didn't just call out fans, he called out other bands. Kurt Cobain and Nirvana very famously had a run-in with Guns N' Roses, where Guns N' Roses security guards almost beat up Nirvana. And for people out there wondering, why did Kurt Cobain dislike Guns N' Roses, and Axl Rose in particular, so much? It's because Axl Rose, in Kurt Cobain's words, was a racist and a sexist, and that stood in stark opposition to his own views. And Kurt Cobain would stand on stage and tell people to stop listening to Guns N' Roses music. And this resulted in a concert where Kurt Cobain made a joke about Guns N' Roses sucking ass, and a fan of Guns N' Roses jumped onto the stage and yelled at Kurt Cobain and said, "Hey, why can't we all just get along and play some good music?" And Kurt Cobain was not having any of that. And there'll be a transcript of his quote below me in a fact bar, but the gist of it was, fuck Axl Rose, fuck that band. You can't separate, art from the politics of the creator. It just can't happen. If you like their music, you don't like ours because we fundamentally disagree with them. They're like, what baller move? What a hero.
Good on him, honestly.
It takes balls to do that, and it's sad that it does. It's sad to say it takes balls to say things as controversial, quote unquote, as like gay people matter.
I'm guessing there are other ways that he expressed his views.
Yes, in case it wasn't clear enough how Kurt Cobain felt about bigots and how much they could go do one, on the liner notes of the album Incesticide, Kurt Cobain wrote the following note. If you in any way hate homosexuals, people of a different colour, or women, please do this one favour for us. Leave us the fuck alone. Do not come to our shows and do not buy our records.
Yes.
Some pretty clear-cut stuff there, isn't it?
Yeah.
I now feel a certain kinship with Kurt Cobain. Because do you remember, Nisha, I think it might have been before you joined the channel, where I just said to camera, if you're racist, stop watching our videos, and racists complained about it.
I mean, it's something you've mentioned a few times, though. When Joe Biden was elected, and you were like, fuck Trump supporters, because, you know, the same sort of reasons.
Do you know what my favourite thing about that is? Like, it highlighted how fucking stupid Trump supporters are, because my quote was, if you voted for or support Donald Trump, I want you to stop watching my channel, eat shit, and die mad about it. And Trump supporters keep sending me messages to this day saying, why'd you tell us to go die? So I didn't. I told you to eat shit and die mad about it. I actually want you to live as long as possible and stay as mad as you are and die salty and see the world progress beyond your shitty views. But bringing it back to Kurt Cobain, he doubled down even harder for the album In Utero, in which he wrote another personal message to fans of the band, which did not agree with their politics, telling them simply that he hated them and wanted them to stop listening to his stuff. That's just the thing, they're like, telling her, I hate you. Just, that's it, like nothing else. I fucking, just stop listening. I hate you. I hate you so much.
We hate those sorts of people as well. We can like relate to that hatred because like we don't want those people watching our content.
And he could empathise with like, you know, the plight of gay people because he was bullied relentlessly in school for having a gay friend. And to the point where Kurt Cobain often pondered in his personal diaries whether or not he was gay. And he came to the conclusion that he was not. However, he would write that he wished that he was just to piss off bigots. Like, he actively wanted to be gay so that he could piss people off more. And there's a great interview with Kurt Cobain for a Gay Interest magazine. The exact reasoning for we can get to in a moment. But during this interview, they ask him, is it true that you would go around, like, your neighbourhood and spray paint pro-gay graffiti onto pickup trucks? And Kurt Cobain starts laughing and goes, oh yeah, I'd do that all the time. I'd go to houses of bigots late at night and I would write things such as homo sex rules and God is gay in massive letters on their pickup truck and then walk through the neighbourhood when they were going to work and just watch them get pissed off about it.
Baller move.
Just homo sex rules.
Amazing.
Just in massive block letters on the back of pickup trucks of people with like Confederate flags and shit. And you might be wondering, folks at home, why in particular did you note that Kurt Cobain did that interview with the Gay Interest magazine? And that's because after the release of Nevermind, Kurt Cobain, as mentioned, became disillusioned with his success and the fact that people were just not understanding the message of his music, even though he felt it was quite clear. And that message was, fuck bigots. He got so pissed off with stuff like that that he just outright refused to do any promotion whatsoever for his albums with the traditional press. And in fact, only invited Gay Interest magazines to interview him or the band about later albums, specifically so that fans of Nirvana would have to buy those magazines, which contain other stories about gay interests, to read about the band. If there was any bigoted fans of Nirvana that wanted to read about it, they'd have to go buy a Gay Interest magazine.
Yeah.
And if they didn't want to do that...
Which they probably wouldn't, yeah.
Which they probably wouldn't, which highlights why they were not a fan of the band. And it's noted that when these like magazines interviewed Kurt Cobain, he would specify that there are no rules here. You can ask me whatever you want. I will be as open as you want me to be. I want to like speak to you guys for as however long you choose to get however much information you want about my music, my artistry, my social activism, what have you. I want to support your cause. Like, what a fucking man.
Like I mentioned before, like, I knew of him, I knew a bit about him, but I'm finding all this stuff out right now.
Yeah.
It's just like, I really appreciate what he was like.
Yeah, my girlfriend's like just sat just on the office sofa because we were recording some more after this. And do you remember, honey, when I wrote this article and I was like, man, this guy's awesome.
Yeah, you were like super duper excited about it. And it was just like, yeah, legend.
Yeah.
I mean, because you never really hear about it.
I research stuff for a living. I was surprised to know he was this outspoken. Like, I would have imagined that he would have been like, you know, quite outspoken given, like, you know, just his band status like a grunge brand. It's like, yeah, you know, marginalised people like stick up for one of like, it's something you see a lot in the punk community. To see that he was not only this outspoken, but like this passionate about protecting people and making sure that people who did not agree with his views, which are like so just basic, like just respect people.
It is baffling because it just seems like a simple concept, like treat people as you'd want to be treated, respect everyone, everyone's a human being, you know, and it just baffles me that even today you still get the same sort of issues.
Kurt Cobain did not give a fuck, and it's weird that that's not the way his, like, you know, his fans, quote unquote, the weird people who are elitist and gatekeep Nirvana's music, if they really wanted to carry on his legacy and honour his memory, they would be supporting these causes. Because it's noted that one of the things Kurt Cobain was most proud of was playing a concert in support of gay rights. And I know that the comment section for this video is going to be an absolute shit show. So I would now like to repeat that quote from Kurt Cobain and co-sign on it for myself. If you in any way hate homosexuals, people of a different colour, or women, please do this one favour for us. Leave us the fuck alone. Do not watch our videos and do not support us elsewhere. We don't care. We hate you. Fuck off. Stop watching our content. Support and respect people. What are you trying to say, Sonny?
Oh, I was just going to help you with a more succinct way of putting it.
Oh, okay, what is it?
I was just going to say gay rights, trans rights, and Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, that too.